Hey friends, happy summer. I am going to tell you about this amazing romance series that I have been reading and I have completely fallen for the boys in. So good. So I need to start this by saying this series is not YA. It is absolutely not YA. It is very adult. There is sex in it, there is cursing in it. So I would not put this in a middle school library. Maybe, I don't know about a high school library, depends on you and your kids. um Either way, this is not a children's book. This is not YA. This is very, very adult. It's fucking amazing. Oh my god. I don't normally like romance because to me, I'm like, I like YA that has a little bit of romance in it, but I don't like it to be the focus. But in the summer, I like light and fluffy, if that makes sense. And this series I have heard about. It has been on my radar for a minute. And I was sent these books, and you might remember what I'm talking about from a previous vlog. This is my new favorite romance series. I've already been talking to the author on Twitter and been like, I don't know what to read now. Like, I joined Kindle Unlimited so that I could read the series because it's amazing. Okay, so I read them out of order. So this is the Happy Ending series by Zoey Castile, aka Zoraida Cordova. She also wrote the Brooklyn Brujas series. So Labyrinth Lost. I can't remember the second one right now, but she's written a ton of things. She's also got a new book coming out in August called A Crash of Fate. It's a Star Wars story. So the first book in the series is Stripped, and I'm showing you this because I read it on my phone through Kindle Unlimited. The second one is Hired, and the third one is my favorite, is Flashed. So I was sent Hired and Flashed for review. I'm awful because I didn't even notice that Zoe signed it for me when she sent it to me. I'm awful. So thank you for that, Zoe, if you're watching. Um, it's amazing. Okay, so now that I told you what order I read them in, I'm going to review them in the order that I read them, if that makes sense. So first I read Hired, even though it's the second book in the trilogy, and this one is awesome. This book is about Aiden, and Aiden is Aiden is Colombian, and he is so cute. I know it's a book and you can't read him, you can't see him, but I see him, and he is adorable. So Aiden is very young, and this whole series is about male strippers. So Aiden is a stripper, and he works for this group called Mayhem City, and he is in New Orleans, and he is also an escort in New Orleans. And he goes there and he's hanging out because he's meeting this woman that he's escorting. We find out that she's in trouble with her husband. But he meets this woman named Faith. Um, it's amazing. So, Faith is the daughter of a woman who is running for mayor of New Orleans. And Faith is strong and smart and funny and like not has time for a relationship. She's everything that I love about a strong, fierce woman. And she meets Aiden and she's like, no. And of course, things happen and they fall for each other, and it's so good. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love this series so much because the women feel real. Like they feel like they could be my cousins, my primas. And I love that they are all of some type of Latina because they are all strong and fierce and just wonderful girls, women. And so this one is about Aiden and Faith, and it has such a good ending. If you like Hallmark Christmas movies, this series is really, really good. I have figured out the algorithm for Hallmark Christmas movies. So you watch the whole movie, and then 5 minutes before it ends, there's some type of conflict, or about 20 minutes before it ends, there's a conflict. And then 5 minutes before it ends, the guy runs back in and like solves the problem. And then 2 minutes before it ends, they kiss and then it's over. So in this series, I feel like a lot of romance novels are like, amazing love story, amazing love story, amazing love story, conflict, get back together, and the end. But in these series, the conflict is actually real. Like you can actually understand why it happens. And I love that. It's not just like a conflict, it's like legit, it's real. Like you can see it actually happening. So the second book I read in the series is the third book in the series. And this one is Flashed. And this one is my favorite. I love, 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 love Patrick. And I love, 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 love Beauty and the Beast. It feels very Beauty and the Beast-ish. But this one is about Pat, aka Patrick, and Lena or Magdalena, either Lena or Lena, however you want to say it. Lena is from Queens, and Patrick lives in Montana. Now, the thing with Patrick is he's also a stripper, but he's not a stripper anymore because he was in this horrible accident where he's got scars all over his face. He thinks he's hideous. He doesn't leave his house. And Lena comes because she needs a job. She's putting herself through school, and she becomes his housekeeper. And the rule is, you don't go to this side of the house, like the West Wing. You clean, you cook, whatever you want to do. And then, so she starts painting rooms and like cleaning things because he's lived in this house, but he's never actually moved in. And so she starts doing things, and they start texting because he'll say things like, your music is too loud, or like they run into each other. And he like runs the other way, so she never sees him. And then they start texting each other. And like we all know, this relationship is going to form, and it's so good. They are so good together. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I feel like they like help each other grow into who they're supposed to be. Pat just becomes better, and I feel like she helps him realize that there's nothing wrong with him, even though he like is ugly to him now. Like he thinks he's hideous, and he helps her see that she is more than what she thinks she is, and I love it. It's so good. Lena is also big about her family, and she wants to take care of her little sister, but her little sister is ugh, being taken care of by their stepmom, or by Lena's stepmom, and she's just an awful, horrible person. Of course, there is a horrible conflict that happens, and it's one of those where you're like, yeah, but it was so good. I read this book literally in 24 hours because I started it at like 10 p.m. and I finished it at 10 p.m. the following day. Could not put it down. And then when I finished it, I was really, really sad because there's no more. But then I joined Kindle Unlimited because the first book, which is the third one that I read, Stripped, was on Kindle Unlimited. And this one, so good. So in Flashed and in Hired, you hear a lot about Fallon. And Fallon is like the oldest stripper in the group. And what was cool was that I already knew about Fallon. So I already knew how his story ends. So in these two, you hear about Fallon and his teacher and how they're like annoyingly cute together and all that. So I already knew what was coming. So Stripped starts with Fallon, who it's his last name. His name is Zach Fallon, and Robin, and their laundry bags get swapped. So Robin ends up with Zach's, and Zach ends up with her laundry. And she realizes this because she pulls out a thong that's got an American flag and like sequins on it, and he gets her clothes that have like a red dress. And she's running late, like always, and she uses his clothes to like mop up coffee. And so he goes to her door, and he's like, "Hey, I think you took my laundry." And so they swap, and Robin's like, "Oh my god, he's so hot." And then each book goes back and forth between the female and the male's character. And then Fallon is like, holy God, my neighbor is gorgeous. And keeps asking her, like, will you go to dinner with me? Will you do this with me? And she's like, no, no, no. And then opens her mouth about her best friend's getting married and they've got a bachelorette party. And she says something about trashy strippers. And he is like, oh, and backs away slowly and like doesn't talk to her for a while. And she doesn't realize what happened. And then at the bachelorette party for her best friend, the Mayhem City Boys show up. So it was really cool to see. You don't hear about Pat in the other book, but you do hear a lot about Aiden, and Aiden is like very prominent. He shows up a lot in Stripped, so you hear a lot about Aiden and like how young he is, which is fun because I got to see one side of him and then different side of him. Anyway, so the Mayhem City Boys show up at the bachelorette party, and then she realizes, like, oh shit, this is Fallon. That's why I offended him, because I said trashy stripper, and so he thinks I called him trashy. And so it goes on with them, like, obviously coming together and having this super duper cute relationship. But the Mayhem City Boys are going to Vegas, and you hear about that in the other two books, how they end up in Vegas and where the show travels and where it goes from there. And so they know that they have a time limit on their relationship, and so they have to decide, like, do they end it early Or do they keep going and see it through? And should Robin stay at the school that she works at where she teaches fifth grade and the principal hits on her regularly and he's a douche? Or does she figure out something else to do with her life? It was really, really good. I loved it. Flashed is my favorite, but Stripped is awesome because I really, really, really like Fallon. The series is just amazing. It's super, super good. The boys feel legit, and the women are just awesome. So that's the Happy Ending series by Zoe Castile. It is amazing. It is on Kindle Unlimited, and Flashed comes out next month on, looks like late August, early September. I don't know. I'm sorry. I'm awful at these things. But it comes out in August. I'm pretty sure in August of this year. You're going to want it. It is amazing. I loved it. It was fantastic. If you like Magic Mike, if you like great romance stories, if you like good sex scenes, there you go. This is an awesome series. Again, it is not YA. It is very adult. It is amazing. I love it. I love it. I love it. I can't say that enough. I love it. It was so good. I'm really sad that it's over, and I hope I find something else to read. If you have good romance recommendations, send them my way.